What up, Nav Nation? Welcome back, guys, to another Q&A Friday. Man, it has felt like it's been forever since the last time we've done one of these, and it is so good to be back. This has been a crazy week for your boy PokéNav. It's been a fantastic week, nonetheless. Such a special week for me. If you guys have been keeping track of my social media, you will know why. But guys, it is good to be back chatting with the Nav Nation. And who do we got joining in here tonight on this fine Friday evening, 5 p.m. Pacific Standard Time? We got Jake from Palatown. What is going on, my friend? Abraham Rodriguez, Ryo. We also got Leo B in the house. How are you guys doing? How's this week been treating you? The Pokemon market is crazy as ever. I was in the hospital for a few days. Nothing for myself. I am a proud father once again. So I was in the hospital for a few days. So wasn't really keeping track of everything that was going on in the Pokesphere. But when I got back in, looks like there's been some craziness out there. A little bit of craziness in the Pokemon market, and it's funny how that can shift so quickly over just a few days. It really displays the fact of this market is just so ephemeral and just ever changing, and just good to be back. Good to be back joining you guys once again in these chats. It's been, man, quite a few weeks since the last time we've done one of these, so I'm excited to get back in, answer some questions, and just be able to connect with all of you guys out there. And just see what's going on. We'll probably have some members that are joining in tonight, so we'll probably have some questions in relation to the PokéNav Club as well. I welcomed all of the members to join in here tonight to get any questions answered that they wanted to. So we'll probably have some members, subscribers, some new people joining in, and as always, we're going to get into some fun topics. So right off the bat, got to give a shout out to my boy Jake from Palatown. Hey Jake, I truly appreciate that, man. We feel very, very blessed to have our son here with us, finally to be home and have all of our family together. I don't know how it is for any of the rest of you out there. If you know anyone that's been having kids lately or has had a child recently, for us, there's such a stark contrast between when we had our daughter 3 years ago and to now. It was just my wife and I that were actually allowed in the hospital, so we weren't allowed any visitors, including our daughter. And it was just strange, kind of a strange experience just being the two of us. It was pretty nice, but nonetheless, it's good to be back home, visiting with family, connecting with everyone, and allowing our daughter to meet the new member of the family. So again, feel very blessed, very lucky to be back home and enjoying the company of those closest to me. So Jake, truly appreciate that, my friend. Leo B. Been trying to figure out how the name Atlas came about. Kind of cool. I like it. Yeah, so the way that my wife and I were going about coming up with a name, our daughter's name is Aura. And we really had that name picked out from the very beginning. I think my wife and I might have known each other. We were dating for maybe a couple months. And somehow it came to the topic of, well, if you had kids, what would be some names? And we both really loved the name Aura, and it really represents her and her personality. She just exudes this very positive, just very innocent aura about her. And so we knew that was the perfect name for her. But we had a little more difficulty with our son in coming up with a name, and we tossed a lot of things around, and we kind of wanted to continue with the A name, I guess you could say. And so we were throwing some names around, and the name Atlas really stuck out to me because I'm big on mythology and ancient religions and ancient civilizations. And Atlas, he was the leader of the Titans in the Greek mythology that waged the war on the gods and was burdened after the Titans lost the battle against the Greek gods. He was burdened with the fact of holding up the world on his shoulders, and that to me just represents a really strong, very powerful connotation to that name of persistence and fortitude, and especially mental fortitude. And I think that's something that for me as a father, that's something that you try to instill in your children, and especially for your son to always have that mental fortitude, that persistence and never giving up and continuing to strive. So that's really where the name came from. And then serendipitously, it just so happens that Atlas, very, very strong commonality to navigation and being able to navigate certain geographic areas. So it just all fit together very nicely. And that's really how it came about. So I appreciate that, man. Thanks for the question. Ryo, hey, thank you so much, buddy. Really, really appreciate that. And right off the bat, guys, one of the things that I wanted to do is I want to give a big thank you to the Nav Nation. Seriously, guys, when I posted about our son being born, so many of you reached out to me to give well wishes and warm regards, and I truly appreciate that. Honestly, I mean, it's a big community, and that's what we try to cultivate here is a community feeling. And I want to know what's going on in your guys' lives, and I try to let you in a little bit on mine as well, because there's more of a connection there, right? There's more empathy involved when you start to get a better idea of who it is that you're watching, who it is that's really behind the camera, and you connect on a much deeper level. And so right off the bat, again, I just want to thank all of you out there for reaching out to me, all of you that have and that continue to, just with all of those kind words and warm regards. I just truly appreciate it. Goblin Investments in the house. What is going on, guys? Good to have you here. Oh, and guys, speak of the devil, we've got a visitor here, so hold on just a second. Go. We've got the little man himself joining us here today, little baby Atlas. And again, guys, like I said, this is what it's all about. This is why I do what I do. It's for my family, for this little guy right here. So for all of your support that you guys show me, it's not just to me, it's to my family as well. So and that's him telling you he appreciates it as well. So can you guys, can you give him a thunder punch, Atlas? All right, I'm gonna go ahead and give him back to mom. He's already ready to become a Pokemon trainer, but he's gotta wean off of mom first before he sets forth on his journey. So we'll go ahead and hand him back. All right, guys. So we'll go ahead and start jumping into it. Again, I want to thank all of you. I've seen a lot of congratulations in the chat here. A lot of you guys jumping in here. PokeScott86, what is going on, my friend? We got Paradise Josh, Nutty786, Freedom USA, Macho Munchies, Abraham Rodriguez. Who else we got coming in here? Mr. Poke Dragon. Could have called him Abra. Yeah, maybe that'll be his nickname. What else do we have? We've got Lidosis coming in here as well. We're going to be jumping into those questions here very, very shortly. Paradise Josh, youngest streamer ever. Yeah, he may be the youngest person to ever appear on a stream. That could be a possibility. All right, guys, so let's do it. Let's go ahead and start jumping into some questions here. I'm excited. Hope you guys are excited as well. As I said, it's good to be back. It's good to be connecting with all of you once again. So let's go ahead and jump into it here and start jumping into those questions. I think the first one that I saw here, let me make sure that I don't miss it. I gotta get fine-tuned again. I'm a little rusty on the live chats. All right, let's see. Hey, Paradise Josh, love the name Atlas. Studied ancient history in school, so I understand the thought process there. Awesome name. Hey, I appreciate that, buddy. Really, really appreciate that. Goblin, hey, appreciate it, my friend. Mine is expected September 21st. Wow. Well, good for you, man. Good for you. It's super exciting. There's nothing like new life, new baby. It's just they're the best thing ever. True blessing. All right, here we go. Lidosis, do you think investing in modern Pokemon products alongside your core investment portfolio, such as index funds, is a good investment strategy? Yeah, so I've talked about this before, how Pokemon as a whole, right? We would classify those from an investment perspective as alternative investments. And these are similar to things like gold, silver, other collectibles, other precious metals, things like that. Those are all alternative investments. Now, typically for me, at least back when I was an advisor, we really didn't recommend having more than 10% of your overall portfolio in alternative investments. Now, that can change, right? That can change based upon where you're at in life, okay? So a 25-year-old single man or woman is very different than a 60-year-old, retired person, a retired couple, and that's very different than, a 30-year-old married man with 2 kids, right? So it really is dependent upon your particular situation and how much risk you're willing to take, because Pokemon, by all intents and purposes, is a risky investment, right? We've seen that. We've seen how much the swings can be, going up as much as 300% return down to losing, 50, 60, 70% in a very short time frame. So this can be a very risky type of investment to get into. Now, there's ways that you can mitigate risk within the Pokemon collecting hobby, or just Pokemon cards in general. But as a whole, for me personally, you guys might be surprised to hear this, but Pokemon really doesn't make up more than about 10 to 15% of my overall portfolio. And that includes everything. That includes stocks, bonds, mutual funds, as he mentioned there, index funds, which is basically just is similar to a mutual fund. And then that also includes real estate. That includes other alternatives as well. So it really doesn't make up more than about 10%. Now, why do I do that? Because I don't want to take on too much risk in this particular area. But even within Pokemon, if you're wanting to mitigate some of that risk, I've made videos before on the risk tolerance spectrum and certain products that I think fall in that particular spectrum and where you can fit yourself in. So like on one end of it, you've got a conservative investor, then you go to moderately conservative, moderately aggressive, and then aggressive at the other end. And just to give you an example, on the conservative end, I would consider things like sealed vintage booster packs to be a conservative type of investment. Why? Because you don't see those fluctuate nearly as much as you would with something like even a sealed booster box. You've seen the prices on those. Look at base set unlimited booster boxes going from a high of around $35,000 to $40,000, falling all the way down now to around like $15,000 to $20,000 on the secondary market. That's a big swing, right? But if you look at the sealed booster packs from base set unlimited, you don't see that major swing. You don't see the big gains on those particular products, but you also don't see the losses as well. Another one that I would consider in there, just kind of going up that spectrum, would be something like sealed modern booster boxes. Especially right now, guys, I know a lot of people have really been hammering on battle styles, but now battle styles, especially, if you're a member of the PokéNav club, everybody's picking their booster boxes up for $89 a booster box right now for the PokéNav club. That's, to me, it's a no-brainer. You pick up a case of battle styles at $89. It is very, very unlikely that you're ever going to see it fall below that price floor. And, a year, 2 years, 3 years from now, you can look back, and even if, you've gone up, it's $150 a booster box. I mean, the return on that is really good year over year. And so that's something that I would be looking at. And really, it goes against what a lot of human instinct is, right? When you see something like battle styles that fell from $160 a booster box down till about $100 a booster box on average, or around $110. I think the boxes have kind of gone up a little bit over the last week or so. But even so, if you're picking it up around that $100 price point, I think it's really a really good deal in my opinion. And I just don't see it really falling below that. I mean, look at the history. There's very few sealed booster boxes that have really fallen below, especially that distributor level pricing. The only ones, I think, Roaring Skies, Evolutions, Steam Siege, and then look at it now. Look at Evolutions. I was picking Evolutions booster boxes up early last year for around $75 a booster box, just because nobody wanted it, and see where it's at now. So you can never really count those out. And I think that now that we've reached such a low price point for something like battle styles, if you guys have the the financial means to do so, now is probably a good time to pick those up and just sit on it. Just sit on it. put a timer on your phone, or put a mark on the calendar for 2-3 years from now. And when that goes off, take a look at the market and see what those are doing. And I think you'll be pleasantly surprised. Leo B saying the baby's got a lot of hair already. Yeah, he does. His sister had even more, which was pretty crazy. Most of it fell out, and then when it grew back blonde. So I'm expecting probably something similar for our son as well. Pokey Timmy, is this your full-time job now, YouTuber plus dad? No, I mean, a dad is always a full-time job. Any dads out there, you guys can vouch for this. It's always a full-time job. No matter if you already have a full-time job, you're putting in, you're putting in 80 hours a week plus being a dad and everything that goes along with that. So shout out to all the dads and all the moms out there as well. The moms are putting in even more than that, I can guarantee it. But no, I have a regular job. I'm a power trader, working from home, which has been really nice. And then on top of that, I do YouTube. I've got real estate investments. And right now I'm actually starting up another business as well, which is Pokemon related. And if all goes well with that, you guys may be seeing a lot more of me because I may be able to transition from the regular form of employment, my 9 to 5, and really focus more on doing this. And that's really the goal, is to really transpose this new business venture for my current 9 to 5. So yeah, really excited about that, and more information to come down the line, and probably this month we'll have that all being launched. Oh, Paradise Josh, here we go. So when we getting the announcement about growing the Nav Nation membership family, dude? Great seeing it doing so well. So yeah, like I said, man, this month is when we've got it planned. In fact, I was meeting with the accountant today, was at the bank getting everything set up, getting all of the pieces put together. I'll let you guys in on a little insight right here. I'm not going to give away too much, but I'll let you in on a little insight here. So for this new business venture, I do have a partner in this new business. That is Rocky, which you guys have seen in previous videos. I've told you he's my distributor, where I get the products for current PokéNav club members. But now we're teaming up, and the reason that we're teaming up is because we are really wanting to grow this to a whole new level, that is just so far beyond the PokéNav club. For all of the current members out there, nothing's changing for you guys. Everything's just getting better. But as I told you, those first 100 members, the price will never change. It will never change on you guys. It's just going to get continually better. And for all new members out there, I think you guys are going to find that this new business is so worth it. And I think it is going to help so many of you out there in getting product consistently at the lowest prices, and really in such a diverse way. There's going to be so many products that you guys are going to have access to that so many people do not, and in such a unique way. I think you guys are going to be really, really happy, and we're hoping to continue this. We're hoping to grow this particular business venture, because the more that we grow, the more that it gets passed along to you. All of those benefits get passed along to you guys, and you'll see more in regards to that here very soon. Like I said, we're planning on launching this month. I don't know exactly when. It's getting very, very close to being completed with everything that we need to do on the back end. So we should have more information coming down the line, probably within the next few weeks. So definitely, if you guys, I usually don't reiterate it. I usually don't say it, but if you do not have the notifications turned on for the channel, I would recommend doing that, because that is where it will be announced. It will be right here on the channel. It's when the video for the launch will be announced, and I'll give you guys all the information about where you go, what you do to become a member. And like I said, for all of you current members out there, nothing's going to be changing for you. It's just going to be getting better and better. And that $21 a month that you're paying is just going to be the benefits of that are just going to be compounded about tenfold. We'll just say that. So yeah, long story short, keep an eye out. More information to come soon. PokéNav, how many of the vintage cards submitted to PSA currently do you think will come back in a good grade, like an 8 to 10? Really good question. It's hard to say. So I don't think that PSA, just based upon the turnaround time still being quite long, I don't think that they're grading a ton of cards strictly through their AI-based grading system. I think it's mostly just an adjunct to their human-based graders. So my guess is that we're probably going to see the, relatively speaking, the same amount of those near mint to gem mint cards coming back onto the market that we've seen before. My initial thought is that if more of those were being graded by AI, that it would be more strict, kind of like what we see with CGC, right? I mean, how many of you guys have seen a CGC 10 out there? I certainly haven't. If you have, by all means, let me know in the chat. But I have not seen any CGC 10s. I've seen very few CGC 9.5s, a little bit more CGC 9s, but a lot of them fall in that 8, 8.5, and a little bit in the 9 range. And that's because I think they are much more allocated in grading their cards with their AI-based program, and that's probably why you don't see those really top-tier, highly sought-after card. Well, I shouldn't say highly sought-after, but just high grades. You don't see those CGC 10s because it's more strict. So that's just kind of my take on it. Now I have nothing to back that up. I have nothing to validate that. It's just what I'm seeing with the turnaround times being really haven't changed a whole lot. And I've talked to James Carson, Graded Gem. By the way, they just opened back up again, right? July 1st. Yesterday, PSA opened back up, so I'm sure James and Graded Gem, they're probably getting swamped again. I don't think the price increases have really affected the amount of people submitting. I think they've just come to accept the price increase and just to take it as it is. But from what I've seen with the turnaround times, they're pretty much the same. So I imagine there's probably going to be relatively the same amount of those 8 to 10s coming back out as there were before. Mr. PokéDragon, have you ever deep dive into Dragon Ball Super? The signature cards specifically to me look very investable, low pops, rare, popular, and very clean art style. So personally, I have not delved into Dragon Ball Super a whole lot. I'm a huge Dragon Ball Z fan. I've told you guys before that I have more Dragon Ball Z Score Entertainment cards from my childhood than I do Pokemon, to just kind of give you some perspective. But I have started to get into more of these TCGs as of recently, and that's because this new business venture really requires that. It really requires me to expand my knowledge into all of these various TCGs. And, something that I've talked about before is when you're looking at like the set or the card game as a whole, there's certain characteristics that in my opinion, cross over no matter what TCG it is. So when you look at something like Flesh and Blood, for instance, and you've got the Flesh and Blood, I think it's the Welcome to Wraith, and they've got a first edition and they've got an unlimited booster box. Well, the first edition, to me, that's a no-brainer. You'd put a first edition stamp on something, a limited print. To me, that's something that you want to hold on to. You want to keep something like that sealed, or the cards that are in there is something that is always going to hold more of a premium. No matter where the card game as a whole goes over the long term, that's something that's always going to be a distinguishing feature. We saw that with MetaZoo as well, with their booster boxes having that first edition stamp on them as well. So there's things that are, to me, ubiquitous across all TCGs that you're really looking at. But I'm starting to learn more, right? I'm starting to learn about the signature cards from Dragon Ball Super. Magic apparently has something similar where you've got the artist's signature on the cards. We've been talking a lot about other TCGs out there. I believe the other one was the 7 Deadly Sins that is going to be coming out here soon, which is a very popular anime that Weiss Schwartz is now making into a TCG. And the cards, there's going to be specific cards in there that are going to have the illustrator's signature on them. And you guys can correct me if I'm wrong. I think it was 7 Deadly Sins that is going to have that. I recently talked about it in the last video earlier this week. But there's a lot of really cool stuff coming out. And like I said, with this new venture, I've told myself, hey, you got to start learning more about these other TCGs so that you can be more fluent in speaking about them and understanding the investable, the collectible aspects of them. So I have been diving more into them. And something that's going to be really cool here I just said that Rocky is going to be my business partner in this new venture. And something that we're going to do, that we're going to start doing, that I think will be really fun is each week we're going to do it probably once a week, I think, where we're going to open up a booster box from all of the different TCGs. So maybe one week it's Magic, maybe the other week it's Digimon, the next week it's Yu-Gi-Oh, maybe it's Seven Deadly Sins, other Weiss Schwartz lineups, just all of these different things. And as we do that, he's very fluent in these other TCGs. Now I'm pretty good, I'd like to think, with Pokemon, and he's actually not as familiar with Pokemon. So he'll be able to teach me along the way about these other TCGs while I help to kind of educate him with Pokemon, and we'll open up Pokemon as well. But it's something where we're both kind of learning, teaching each other, and along the way you guys will be able to learn as well. You'll be able to learn, hey, these are the big chase cards from this particular card game. These are the things to be looking for if you're looking to get into this card game. And we'll all just kind of learn together along the way, and also have fun opening up booster boxes as well. So I'm really excited about that, and really excited to dive more into all of these various TCGs. So good question, really good question. All right, Jake from Palatown, do you think this is a good time to be scooping up PSA slabs at discount, especially with the increase in price of Express and them not being open for anything else yet? So yeah, I think that, you know, there, and this is no diss on anybody, but there is a lot of talk about junk slabs, right? Our good buddy Pokemon Radar has talked about junk slabs, and I think there is some validity to that, right? Over the course of this last year, people were just grading anything and everything, and I think there will be a lot of those graded cards that really don't have any inherent value to them. Maybe somewhere down the line they might, just based upon how old they are, how vintage they are. They could have some value by being graded. But I still think that there's a lot of cards out there, even ones that you see graded very often. Base set Unlimited Charizard, Evolutions Charizard, any Charizard. I still think that those are going to have value over the long term. And this is something that you have to think about, guys, is how long are you willing to hold on to a lot of these products? How long are you willing to hold on to some of these graded cards to see the kind of return that you want from them? And a lot of the time it takes years, right? It takes years to build up, and also for the market to grow. That'll be another determining factor, is where is the demand at? How much does the hobby grow? How many people come into the hobby that are able to absorb those slabs, right? That's the big thing, is the market able to absorb that supply? Now, even with something like base set Unlimited Charizard, even let's say a PSA 9, right? We saw a big price drop with PSA 9 Unlimited Charizard. Over time, as more people get into it, that price you'll see start to tick back up again, because people are going to look back and they're going to go, oh, Charizard, he's the gold standard. Well, you know, maybe PSA 10, still really expensive. That PSA 9, probably a little more absorbable by the market. You'll start to see more and more people wanting to pick that up, because it's always going to be nostalgia, right? No matter if you're, you know, like for my son, right? 10 years from now, 15 years from now, when he's really able to start understanding the collectibles market, and he says, hey, you know, Daddy PokéNav, what did you have when you were a kid? What were the cards when you were a kid? I'm going to say right here, you know, base set Jungle, Fossil, Team Rocket, all of the WotC. He's going to become interested in that. He's going to want to go out and he's going to want to find those cards because it's the originals, right? This is where it all started. And I do that myself with other types of collectibles out there. When I see things that my parents or my grandparents had when they were a kid, that nostalgia, even though I wasn't there during that time. You look at comics, right? Look at the comics. Like, we still have comics coming out each and every year, each and every week. But the nostalgia of getting those comics from the 60s, the 70s, or even the 50s is very strong. And even though you didn't have those weren't a part of your childhood, those weren't a part of your development growing up, you still want those because it's where it all started. So I think that's something to just think about, something to contemplate, is what is going to be absorbable by the market. I don't think that the old SM Pratt saying, older, rarer, minter, better. And I know I botch that, and I botch it every time. But those tenets, I think, is what you want to be looking at. And even those that may seem ubiquitous right now, that you just see them everywhere, that may not be the case 5 years from now, 10 years from now, as more and more people start to keep those as part of their collection and the supply on the open market starts to dwindle. So very, very, very loaded question. A very good question, but one that, my gosh, we've gone over entire podcasts on that particular subject. All right, let's see. Risk tolerance for your Pokemon investment specifically. What do you consider yourself, more conservative or more aggressive? I suspect it's a mix depending on the type of product. And yeah, that's exactly right. So for me, I look at Pokemon. So you've got let's look at it from like a macro. Okay, you've got your full lineup of all your investments out there. So again, like I was saying before, you've got your traditional investments, your stocks, your bonds, your mutual funds, maybe your retirement assets. You got that here, one piece of the pie. For me, I've got real estate mixed in there as well, different real estate investment assets. You've got maybe your business, right? So you've got different assets in here that maybe you're investing in or that is part of your whole asset class. And then you've got your alternatives. Okay, and your alternatives could be various things. For me, it's Pokemon. So that's your big macro. Now you look at it from the micro approach, okay, and we're looking specifically at Pokemon. In the same manner that I diversify that macro portfolio, I diversify the micro Pokemon portfolio as well, if you'd like to call it that. So many people made fun of me early last year when I was calling it your Pokemon portfolio, but that's really what it is, right? And you've got various different, what I consider, asset classes within Pokemon. Your graded cards, your sealed products, your modern products, your vintage products, all types of things in there. You can even include games in there, right? Vintage Pokemon games, toys, plushies, things like that. And what I have found, what is traditionally successful is diversification. So having somewhat of a diversified approach in that. So I've got sealed products, I've got graded cards. I guess you could consider maybe the business as part of that as well, where there's other modern products in there that I have the ability now that when you're creating cash flow and you start to build up enough cash flow to have that base, you can start to set some products aside. And that, again, when you were talking about diversification, is what are your short-term goals? What are your long-term goals? Maybe your short-term goals are the flips, right? Cards, graded cards historically have been easier to flip than something like a sealed product, right? Because the price point's typically higher on sealed products, especially vintage. So it's like, what products am I going to sit on for the long term? What products am I going to try to flip in the short term? And all other different strategies in there as well. So in a nutshell, diversification, I think, is key. As one part of the market is starting to dip, you might see the other part of the market start to increase. And we typically have some inverse relationships there. It's like I was talking about before with the base set unlimited sealed products, individual booster packs versus whole booster boxes. The booster packs, what we've seen is those don't fluctuate nearly as much. They don't have the big gains, they don't have the big falls as the booster boxes. But again, it's balancing that risk. Do you want to take on more risk for the higher return? Maybe you go with the sealed booster box. Do you want less risk for perhaps a less return? Maybe you go with the sealed booster packs. And that's really all the things that you take into consideration. All right, we got a good question here coming from Abraham. PokéNav, are you going to bring in some Digimon TCG for the membership? Yes, definitely going to be having Digimon in there. I don't know that it'll be on my website. This will probably all transition over to the new venture, but I can tell you right now, guys, I mean, all of your favorite TCGs, they're going to be there. they're going to be there. All of the ones that you guys love, they're all going to be there. But we're probably just going to save it until the transition takes place and then just have it all under this new business entity. So just be on the lookout for that. But yes, Digimon will by all means be there. So just give it a little time. Anna Lynn Anna Lynn. Lynn, that's my daughter's middle name. I like that. What would you say is the best investment that you can find in stores right now? I enjoy collecting more than opening packs, hoping to grow my collection with things that will be worth more later. So we were talking about it earlier. I don't know that you'd necessarily be able to find it in stores, but Battle Styles booster boxes, I mean, they're hitting lows, guys. I mean, all-time lows, things that we just really have not seen for quite some time. And if you're wanting to sit on something for the long term, let's just be real. Sealed products are always going to hold a premium. They're always going to hold a premium, because for all of those people out there that think that we're just sitting on these massive caches of sealed products, the vast majority of people do not sit on them. Right? They have paper hands. They're going to open those, or they're going to divulge themselves. They're going to liquidate those products as soon as they see signs of a downturn in the market. I mean, think of the scalpers. I mean, they have just absolutely divulged themselves of most of their product now because of the dip in the Pokemon market. So that's a great opportunity for you to pick up these sealed products at a really low price and allow that to appreciate over time. Now, how much that's going to appreciate, I have no idea. To be honest with you, I have no idea how much that's going to appreciate. But I can tell you that when you're picking it up closer and closer to distributor or wholesale price, the more likely you are to see a better appreciation over time, right? Because it's very unlikely that it's going to fall below that price floor. So I think, again, I think that, and I'm not just the only one saying this, okay? I'm not the only one that has been proselytizing this. You can look out there, watch Rudy. Rudy just had a video here recently talking about Battle Styles, and he was basically saying the same thing. It's not very often that you see this. And it's very unlikely that you'll see it fall below that price point. Now, beyond that, what are we actually picking up in stores? Well, really nothing, because there's nothing out there. You can't find anything still in Target and Walmarts. Maybe some of you can, depending on where you live, but for the vast majority of people, you're really not finding stuff in stores. So, right now, what I would say is, for Modern, one of the things, and I've kind of changed my outlook on this, is when it comes to cards, individual cards for Modern, I'm more inclined to believe in things that are not set cards. Okay, so that is your promo cards, your exclusive cards, like most recently with EV Heroes, you had in this box right back here, you had the Espeon promo card, the Gengar and Inteleon high class decks. You had something like a 1 in 4, 1 in 6 chance of pulling the promo from there. Those are the type of things that I think from Modern are probably going to have the most success. So more exclusivity when it comes to that. I think when you're looking at set cards, in the short term, you'll probably see decent gains on those, especially in higher grades. But personally, over the long term, I think that those are where you're really going to find more of your success. And really, history it sets the precedent for that, right? When we look back at some of the most expensive cards that we see nowadays, they were just that. They were more exclusive type of cards. Now, you still have your first edition base set Charizard. Really all first edition base set cards. You can look at that and say, well, vast majority of those are still doing well. But when you're really getting into that higher echelon, you're looking at more exclusivity there and cards that just aren't a part of mainline sets. So that's what I would be thinking about when you're looking at things. Most recently, I was looking at the product listings for Evolving Skies, and I think the collector's chests themselves are going to have, I can't remember the cards that were exactly in there, but there's going to be cards that you can only get in the collector's chest. There's going to be cards that you can only get in certain products. Those would be the type of things that maybe I would be looking at versus the actual mainline set cards. But really good question, Anna Lynn. TCG Collector, hey, loving your videos. Thanks, man. What do you think of sealed vintage, near vintage, 2010 era booster packs as an investment? Thanks. Well, you guys have seen it before. We've been doing some booster box openings of black and white era, which is right around the time period that you're talking about here, that 2010 and after. I think black and white is a really good option. You know, that was a low point for Pokemon. That was a really low point where there really wasn't that many people that were in the hobby. And because of that, the supply of black and white era products is pretty low. Even for sets that a lot of people hate or that just completely trash on, like Emerging Powers, for instance, or even black and white base set, those continue to climb, especially from the sealed product standpoint, because there's just not a ton of supply out there because Pokemon wasn't really producing those. We could see a similar thing now with some of the sets that we have or have had during this pandemic era where the supply hasn't been up there. If they don't go back and reprint some of these, then those may be some good ones to hold on to as well. You know, Shining Fates, for instance, we've seen a little bit of another wave coming out, but not much. Same thing with Vivid Voltage. We had the initial print run. They were promising reprints. We've gotten a little bit more, but I can tell you guys right now, coming down from the manufacturer or from the distributor rather, they're more expensive. Even for me to pick up, which translates down to you guys, they're more expensive to pick up, which tells me that there really isn't a whole lot of intention of bringing back a full stock of those products. So those would be the type of things that I would be looking at. And then as you move into like XY era Flash Fire, I think is always a good option. Evolutions. You know, I think that Evolutions will kind of sit for a little while for where it's at, but it's always going to be a popular set. It's the set you love to hate or you hate to love, right? And it's always going to be embedded in the social consciousness of the hobby, and I think that it's just fun. It's a fun set. It brings back the nostalgia of the 20th anniversary and also the nostalgia of the original base set. So I think it's one that'll always be around. So yeah, hopefully that answers your question. Just some things to be on the lookout for. Alex PSX says, should you invest in Steam Siege and should you invest in Steam Siege? Again, well, here's the thing. Steam Siege, we were talking about this in my last podcast with Squeaks, where Steam Siege as a set is really not entirely that bad. It's really where it was mashed between. It was mashed between two pretty dang good sets. And because of that, you just haven't seen Steam Siege ever really be able to take off. Now, there's arguably there's sets during the XY era that are quite a bit better than Steam Siege, no doubt. But the other thing here is maybe you miss the boat on Steam Siege. You know, again, back when it was going for like $70, $75 a booster box, that probably would have been the best time. But the next best time might be now. It might be now, where keep it sealed. That's my big thing. I think with Steam Siege, it would be to keep it sealed, hold it for the long term, see where it's at 3 to 5 years, and see where you're at. See if it's worth selling at that point. Dr. Professor Kubinski, do you think that the sealed market for older sets will go up within 5 years? If so, by how much? Gosh, this is the question that's always tough, man. I really have no idea. I could not tell you by how much. I mean, if you asked me this same question back in 2018, I would have told you 10%, you know, something like that. And then we have 2020 come around and you're seeing 300, 400, 500, 600% return on a lot of these sealed products. So I have no idea. I have no idea. I don't try to focus so much on how much do I think this is going to grow. I just try to focus in on those characteristics that I think make it a good investment, right? So I look at how popular it was during its release. When you're going back to vintage, what are the big chase cards in there? What are the things that people like? Looking at the pop reports for a lot of the cards for that particular set, what are they at? Older, minter, rarer, better. That's really what you want to be looking at there, and then also looking at where are you picking it up. You know, what price are you picking it up at? If you're buying in at the high, like so many people did over 2020 and even 2021, you know, there's a lot of people that are running for the hills right now because they see that dip. Now, that is the last thing that you want to do. The last thing you want to do during there's the saying of buy the dips, and I think that's generally a good advice. I think it's generally good advice. Not always, but you want to look at what are you picking that up for initially, and then kind of getting an idea of where you think it might go in the future based upon previous history, data points, all of those different things that we look at when we're talking about a set. But yeah, to tell you where I think it's going to be, again, to give you a number, I have no idea. I have no idea because this is a very ephemeral and fleeting sometimes market, and just can't really give you a definitive number. Do you think the Shining Fates Zard now going for under $200 is super low? Not necessarily, honestly. I mean, we're seeing it across the board, guys, really, with especially graded cards. And again, I think this may lend even more credence to looking at non-set cards for long-term investment value. Rarer, scarcer, more exclusive type of cards. I think those are probably going to be some of your best bets when it comes to modern cards. Now, Charizard's always going to be popular, but saying that it's super low, under $200, I really don't know. I mean, you go back a few years even, that would have been a high. That would have been a high for a card like that, to be honest with you. So I think we're seeing somewhat of a reset here, right? We're seeing somewhat of a reset in the market, and people are starting to understand a little bit more of how it was back in 2016, 17, 18, even 2019. A little bit greater grasp on kind of where that market eventually equals out to. You've seen the highs. Maybe some of you haven't seen the lows, but you've seen the dips now. And so now you have a little bit better grasp on what really makes a good investment, what makes a good long-term investment. That's not to say that something like this couldn't make a good flip. Not at all. If you pick this card up for $200 in a year, maybe it's at $400. Hey, it's a pretty decent return, right? Pretty decent return. But it's just reining in that expectation and not using 2020 as your baseline measure for where things should be or where you think they'll be. Abraham Rodriguez, do you collect anything else that is not TCG? I collect tech decks. Dude, I remember the tech decks. I loved the tech decks. I'm actually surprised that Pokemon doesn't have any tech decks, or if they do, I'm just unaware of them. You know, outside of TCGs, not a whole lot. I've got some old coins that I always kind of keep an eye out for. I've got a case of those. Yeah, outside of Pokemon and more specifically TCGs, not really. There's nothing that's really ever fascinated me or that's really interested me beyond TCGs. One thing that I would like to get into is that I can actually see some potential in. One you guys already know of with the games, right? Sealed games, especially graded sealed games. I think there's a lot of potential to be had there. The other is like the old Nintendo Power magazines, Beckett magazines, things like that. They're kind of a strange crossover, right? It's kind of like gaming, right? So you've got your vintage games and you've got comics. It's kind of a strange crossover between those, where those are super nostalgic. I mean, I can remember reading the Beckett guides, the PSA guides, the Nintendo Power magazines, things like that. And if it's got Pokemon on it, or Pokemon being discussed, that might be an opportunity. Getting those graded, having something like that from the early 2000s, 1990s, Korokoro magazines, things like that. That could be a lot of potential there. And I've been keeping my eye on that because I've been seeing more of it online and on social media. And I keep thinking to myself, I think there might be something here. there might be something here, because I see characteristics of different markets kind of blending into one. So good question. Kine has a good statement here. Stop thinking about easy investments in store. You have to find your own niche and do your own research. And it's true. And that's one thing that I've always tried to do here on this channel. I think one thing that you guys can vouch for me on is I do my best to give you guys a holistic picture on everything. That's why I bring on guests. That's why I try to have as many perspectives on here as you guys can handle, so that you can come to your own conclusion. I don't want you to take what I have to say as gospel, nor do I recommend that you do that. It's just a piece. It's just a piece of the puzzle. And once you take all these pieces together and finally fit it into a nice cohesive unit, then you can come to a more educated conclusion on what's best for you. All right, let's see. Do you think that the most hyped cards from recent sets are still investable, though? Like the alternate art Rapid Strike Urshifu, for example. Yeah, I think these are the type of cards that, again, over the long term, 3-5+ years, will probably be something that will be more sought after, because they're the big chase card, right? They're the big chase card from that set. You can even go back 5 years from now, going back to like 2016 and looking at the chase cards from sets during that time. They're still, those are the cards people want. So looking at the chase cards, what were the big cards from that set? Now, like Chilling Reign, for instance, hard to determine, right? There's so many potential chase cards in here. You can't ever pull any of them, right? You can't get any of those chase cards. But if you have them, just keeping an eye out and understanding, hey, this is probably something that people are going to want sometime later down the line, especially as it goes out of rotation in competitive play. That might be a really good time, which is typically around 2 years after the set's release. Is when you might want to be, hey, let's check it back in on the market. Let's see how that Rapid Strike Urshifu is doing, and taking a look at that point. Let's see. Would you value Vivid Voltage with the one Pikachu card being the chase card as a better buy than saying Chilling Reign that has all the birds to chase as well as the Snorlax? How do you value the box? Yeah, it's tough, right? Because, let's take Champion's Path, for instance. The only two cards from that set are the two Charizards. Everything else, in my opinion, and I say this with all due respect, is garbage. No offense to Team Trubbish if you're in the yeah, I see in the chat, my man, but it's just not that great. So those are the two big chase cards out of there. So as a whole, it's still done pretty well. Even though you've only got two chase cards in there, as a whole, that set has still done pretty well from a sealed product perspective. Where you go to Vivid Voltage, the one Pikachu in there. I actually thought Vivid Voltage as a whole was a pretty good set. I would argue that there's actually more than just the Pikachu in there. You also had those wonderful, amazing rares, which I think personally, when we look back, if they don't continue those, I think those are going to be some of the most sought after cards later on down the line than even something like the chunky, hyper rare Pikachu. But that's just my personal opinion. And then you move to something like Chilling Reign that has so many chase cards that could actually lend to its sealed products being more valuable, right? And especially if we do end up having a reprint and maybe the pull rates are a little bit better with the reprint. Remember, we kind of saw that with Burning Shadows, where the reprints of Burning Shadows, the pull rates were awful. But then the original release back in 2017, the pull rates were actually pretty dang good. And those people that had original 2017 sealed cases of Burning Shadows, those were going for a big premium at one point because people knew that the pull rates were better for the initial release versus the subsequent reprint. So you never know. Honestly, you never know how it's going to shake out. A lot of it is just based upon the hobby, the sort of paradigm that exists in the hobby at that time, and it changes over time. I can tell you right now, the hobby as a whole is very different from when I started back in 2016 until now. The things that people like, the things that they're collecting, they're investing, all of these different things, the cards that they're chasing, it's very different. And the hobby as a whole is malleable and changes over time. So, you know, it's hard to say. It really is hard to say, but those are just some things that always run through my mind, especially when you're looking at it from a sealed product perspective. Let's see. Space Ghost Dave, do you think we will see similar market retraces for Evolving Skies as we are seeing with Chilling Reign and Battle Styles? You know, there's a lot of factors that went into the retrace, and I'll tell you guys right now, one of the biggest ones that we saw with Battle Styles was the allocation and the two subsequent, or the two waves. So the first wave with Battle Styles, because the previous sets were heavily allocated and people weren't really able to get as much as they wanted to, when Battle Styles came out, the distributor said, "Hey, here's Battle Styles. Order as much as you want." So the third-party dealers, the card shop owners, they went out there and they're like, you know what? I didn't get, excuse my language, I didn't get shit with Shining Fates. So now what I'm going to go ahead and do, hold on. Let me turn that down. All right. I think my headphones just died. So what they saw with Shining Fates is they didn't get the allocations that they were looking for. So they went real hard with Battle Styles. And what happened is the first wave of Battle Styles, they got pretty heavily allocated. So everybody's like, okay. But they got everything else that they had ordered in that second wave. So if you put in for 2,000 boxes, 5,000 boxes, and let's say the first wave you only got 500 boxes because it was pretty allocated. Well, guess what? That next wave, you were getting all of those remaining booster boxes. And guess what? By that point, Battle Style is not so popular anymore. Everybody's moving on to Chilling Reign, and all of those third-party dealers, those card shop owners, they were like, man, I got all this inventory. What am I going to do with it? And even for some of them, their distributor level prices were actually more than what the boxes were going for on the secondary market. So now you're just trying to liquidate just to save your skin or just to break even. And, unfortunately, that's one of the big reasons why you saw the massive decline in the price of Battle Styles. Now, I think that they're going to do a better job about that with Evolving Skies. I think the amount that you put in for is the amount that you're probably going to get with Evolving Skies for most people out there. So you'll be able to balance that a little bit better. Now, one of the things that we do that gives us better data points to understand how much we should order is I send out surveys, especially to members. Those of you out there that are members will know this. I send out surveys and I ask members how much, these are the products that are going to be releasing here soon. How much of these would you actually want to buy upon release? That gives me a stronger data point of how much we should actually be ordering. And I think it's something that everybody should do. If you're somebody out there that has a online presence, you're selling, or you're a card shop owner, I would highly recommend reaching out to your community so you have stronger data points on how many boxes you should order so that you're able to get closer to that so that you either don't have massive amounts of inventory or that you don't fall severely short. So that is what I would recommend. All right. Let's see if I can get my headphones up and running again. And we will jump into some more questions here. We'll probably go a little bit longer than usual tonight. Let's see. Okay. All right, let's see here. What else do we got? I'm trying to not miss anybody's question. Hey, Ben Lowry. Hey, I truly appreciate it, man. Hey, Nav, love your work. Bloody legend. I don't know about that, but I'll take it. I appreciate it. If you can't tell, I'm Australian. Picked up an Evolution set, not including the promos, etc. Just the set for roughly $350 US. Rough calculation from Australian. So a full set. A full set of Evolutions. I'd say that's not too bad, honestly. I'd say that's a pretty decent deal. All right, sorry. I'm hearing it in one and not in the other, and it's throwing me off. There we go. Okay, now we're ready to roll. But yeah, $350, full set of evolutions. You know, I made a video here recently on if it's still a viable option to be investing in collections. And I think we're changing our strategies, right? It's a little bit different than before. And talking about, you know, the junk slabs and graded cards falling might be a good time to pick up a full collection of graded cards. Whereas in the past, we were picking those up as raw or ungraded. Now might be a good time to pick those up actually graded. You've already got them graded. You've got them authenticated. You know, in this day and age where there's a lot of fake cards out there, now might be the good time to do it. But hey, I appreciate that, Ben. Thanks for joining in, buddy. Let's see. Nav the GOAT. Jacob H. What is going on, buddy? Hey, good to have you here. What are my thoughts on the Diamond and Pearl cards? Holographic Shroud. Diamond and Pearl is something that I would keep an eye on, guys. Honestly, I'd keep an eye on Diamond and Pearl, especially with the remakes of the games coming out with the what is it, Brilliant Diamond and Shining Pearl, as well as the Legends Arceus, that could revitalize and kind of reignite the interest in Diamond and Pearl era. I think Pat Flynn, I think, was kind of giving us a similar mindset to that. I think that's something that he's focusing his attention on right now, is the Diamond and Pearl era, for that very reason. Team Trubbish says Pokemon has fingerboards but not tech deck brand boards. That's too bad. Maybe that's the next big thing. That's the next big investment. Tech deck collaboration with Pokemon. You can bet I'll be in on that. Paradise Josh, have you heard the Japanese Pocket Monsters vending series? Oh, of course, man. Of course. Just came across these myself and love them since a lot of young fans are young fans drawings. But mint unpeeled sheets are hard to find, very hard to find. But they're beautiful. I love the vending series, 1 through 3, all of them. Yeah, these really precede, right? These precede a lot of the Pokemon TCG. A lot of people don't realize that. I think Series 1 was 1996, if I'm not mistaken, maybe 97. You guys can fact check me there in the chat. But yeah, this precedes a lot of the TCG, which is pretty crazy. And it's just cool, right? Vending cards. You can get these out of vending machines printed onto these sheets, which is really, really cool in my opinion. PTCG Hustler dabbles in graded currency. That's cool. That's cool, man. Ryo, Eevee Heroes Eevee box with one Espeon promo versus Evolving Sky booster box. Personally, Evolving Sky would outperform the Japanese Eevee box. Let's see here. So Eevee Heroes Eevee box, one with Espeon promo versus Evolving Sky booster box. Personally, Evolving Sky would outperform the Japanese Eevee box. I don't know. It's tough, right? So think about this. You know, Evolving Skies. These things are not easy to come by. They're really not easy to come by. And yeah, it took some work to get that box. And I don't think you're going to see a whole lot of those out there. Evolving Skies, you'll probably see reprints. Booster boxes, you'll probably see reprints. Now, to give the counter argument to that, English products are always more popular than Japanese products, especially Japanese equivalents. But we don't really have a Japanese equivalent product, at least from the Eevee box standpoint, right? That is a very, very specific product. It's kind of like the PokéCune type of box. There's various other Japanese boxes out there where some of the cards, like for instance, this is Eevee Heroes, which is going into Evolving Skies. But that particular box, you're not going to see anything like that in Evolving Skies. So to me, I would say if you're comparing the two, I would go with the Eevee's box myself. But that's just me. All right, let's see here. Let's jump into some more questions. Team Trubbish, Pokemon is only going to get prettier and shinier. Yes, lots of glitz, lots of glam for sure. Zach Fade, hey PokéNav, can you talk about the Vivid Voltage theme deck, Cracked Ice Charizard? I really feel like it's going to be a great long-term buy as theme decks have been discontinued. Also, great card. Yeah, I mean, you're checking off some good boxes there. Charizard, discontinued product. All of those different things are, something that you want to look for. Again, scarcity, exclusivity, things that you don't see anymore. So yeah, I think I can't tell you definitively, but you're checking off some boxes there that I like to see. Which past mechanic are you most happy about seeing make a return in celebrations? Ooh, good question. Really good question. Man, Delta Species is really cool. I mean, that to me, I was really surprised that they brought something back like Delta Species. I could see something like the Light and Dark Pokemon coming back, which I'm really excited about. Obviously, Neo is my favorite era ever from the Pokemon TCG. But I think I was most excited about the Delta Species cards. You have the Star cards as well. That's really cool. Really, really cool. Just so many cool mechanics that they're bringing back. But I would have to say Delta Species. I never expected that one to be brought back. So it caught me off guard and in a very good way. So I think that's what I'm most excited for personally. I actually talked about it with Chilling Reign. I thought like Chilling Reign with the Galarian forms of like the birds, it's almost reminiscent of Delta Species. They're typing so different. I mean, a fighting type Zapdos. It's crazy. It's kind of like in Delta Species, just like the exact typing. It was like their weakness. They just like became their typing weakness. And I thought that was cool with Chilling Reign. But yeah, I'd say Delta Species is probably the one I'm most excited about. Yeah, Paradise Josh saying Delta Species as well. Julio Colon, if you had to buy one right now, would you purchase a Battle Styles booster box or take advantage of the Vivid Voltage booster box drop? Deciding between the two. You're going to get Battle Styles cheaper. Vivid Voltage was a more popular set, more well-rounded set. If I had to decide between the two, I'd probably go with Vivid Voltage, personally. Because looking at it holistically, it's a better set, in my opinion. Vivid Voltage, better set overall. The reason that I liked Battle Styles is because the price had fallen so low. And you're just never going to see that again, right? You're just never going to see that again, in my opinion. So that's why I was high on Battle Styles. But comparing the two, I'd probably go with Vivid Voltage, just for the sheer fact that it's a better set, and you're getting it cheaper now. All right, let's see here. What modern sets do you think are the most investable? I'm feeling Hidden Fates and Vivid Voltage. The most investable for modern. So let's take it back. Let's say modern is the last, we'll say from Sword and Shield base set on. So I would say from Sword and Shield base set on. Now, I assume that you're not including Japanese in there, because if I were to say most investable, Japanese and English, I would say that Eevee Heroes would be the most investable of all. But if we're just talking about English, then I would say probably I just think that Vivid Voltage, I think Vivid Voltage as a whole was probably the best set that we've had thus far for Sword and Shield. It's tough because Chilling Reign is really good too. I'm going to give Chilling Reign that. The pull rate's abysmal. You can't pull any of the chase cards. But as a whole, I think Chilling Reign is right up there as well. But I don't know. I'd say Vivid Voltage or Chilling Reign in my opinion. Maybe Shining Fates, because all you get is the Elite Trainer box. You don't get the booster box. So I would say those three for sure. In what order? I'd probably go Chilling Reign, Vivid Voltage, and Shining Fates. That would probably be the order that I would say. From Sword and Shield base set on. All right. Let's see. When is the next live booster box opening? Not sure. Not sure. Like I said, Rocky and I are going to be doing one. It'll probably be pre-recorded. I don't think it'll be live. But we're going to start doing a booster box opening each week, or at least we plan to. And it's going to be a different TCG each time. Sometimes it'll be Pokemon. Sometimes it'll be Digimon, Flesh and Blood, Magic. Trying to get MetaZoo. I talked to the man, the myth, the legend himself, King Pokemon, and he is trying to get me in touch directly with the owner for MetaZoo so that we can start carrying that as well, which I think will be a lot of fun. My personal opinion on MetaZoo, I don't know. Long term, I don't know. I talked about it in a recent video as well. There's things that I like, there's things that I don't like, but it's still fun, right? It's still fun. It's a interesting TCG, and one that I would like to carry. And you know what? If the man himself, King Pokemon, likes it, then hey, it's probably good enough for me. But as far as another box break, something like that, I'm just not too sure. Things have been so crazy lately. I've been so freaking busy that I don't know when the next one's going to be. Whenever it is, it's probably going to be a black and white era set, I would imagine. That's really what I've been looking at thus far. It's still our goal to try to complete black and white, the black and white era sets. So that'll probably be it. So just keep it on your radar. Let's see, Kyle B. Hey, about a heavy base 2-pack for $156.95. I'm very happy. Good for you, man. You know, it's funny how, again, back in the day, nobody wanted base set 2. Nobody wanted base set 2 of any kind. Because they're like, reprint? Why do I want the reprint? I'm just going to get the original. I'm just going to get the base set. And now look at it. Base set 2, so many people love base set 2. So you can never count out any particular set because you never know when it's going to have its revival, its renaissance. And that's really what we saw with base set 2. Paradise Josh, let's talk a little bit more about celebrations. I'm super hyped for this entire set. What else do you hope will be announced for the set after a set other than what we've already seen? So I'm really interested to see what they're going to have in that subset, because to me, it's kind of like the Radiant Collection. And I'll be really interested to see what they have in the subset and what cards they're going to reprint. I wasn't too excited about them having another base set Charizard in there or base set Pikachu. I really wasn't excited about that. I was more excited about seeing the old mechanics on new cards, on new Pokemon. That I like. But let's bring back some other cards, man. Let's go back into EX Deoxys. Let's start reprinting some of those. Let's have some of those cards in there. Let's go back to Call of Legends even. Let's go back to what else? Let's get some Aquapolis, Expedition, Skyridge, Gym Heroes, Gym Challenge. Now let's get some of the gym leaders in there. Let's go back to the Versus series for the Japanese cards. Let's get a Lance's Charizard in there, which you guys saw that. We got that Lance's Charizard box that's being released. So maybe that's a sign. But man, Versus series cards, you know, that would be awesome to see some of those in there. Let's mix it up a little bit more. Let's take some Japanese exclusive cards that we had in the past. Let's get some reprints of those. As you guys can see, I'm fired up. I'm super excited to see what they put in here, but I'm also a little trepidatious because I'm worried that they're going to take the easy road and just reprint things that we've had before and several times before. That's kind of my worry. All right, let's see. Any other questions in here? Anything else that you guys want to get answered here tonight? And it doesn't have to be market related, guys. Anything that you want to know, anything about the channel, anything about memberships. I think I gave as much information on that as I think I can up till this point. But yeah, anything else you guys want to chat about? I'm all open and all ears, digital ears, whatever you guys want to know about. Better have some crystal cards in celebrations. Yeah, man. Pedro, I hear you. That would be awesome. Getting some a Crystal Charizard. Let's not do the base set Charizard. It's Crystal Charizard. Jake from Palatown loves the Versus series as well. It's great. It's a great set of cards. Fantastic. Artwork is great. It's the only time that we've really seen something like the Elite Four and their Pokemon. It's so cool. You know, we just never really had that. Are we going to get Mantike? Bonsly. Bonsly, only one card in existence. Maybe we get that Delta Species Bonsly in there. Yeah, boy, PokéNav going crazy. Where did I get that major Charizard display you had before? Major Charizard display. I don't know what he's talking about. Toybot Gaming, though. Welcome in the house, brother. Ryo, speaking about 25th anniversary, do you think Japanese 25th anniversary products are investable? To me, Japanese ones are a bit weak. I do like that it's all gold. I have to give it that. I like that it's all gold. And on top of that, our boy Venusaur finally getting the respect he deserves with his card in the Japanese 25th anniversary set. I was super happy about that. The thing I like about the Japanese products, and I'm talking about the physical products, not necessarily the individual cards, is they really go all out with that. I mean, this right here, guys. I mean, that box is beautiful. The artwork on it is beautiful. It's a wonderful collector's piece, something that you're proud to display. And I think the Japanese products do a great job of that. And so that's what I'm looking forward to. All gold Celebrations boxes or Japanese Celebrations boxes. Looking forward to that. No, Toybot, I don't, my friend. That must be another good-looking PokeTuber out there. It'd be cool, though. I'd love to have one. The goal. Now, this house, we're going to be moving out of this house here soon to another. And in that new studio, I'm wanting to be able to display more in there. It's just, yeah, with us, it's like we never stay in one place for long. You can ask my wife that. It's like we're always buying another home. So I didn't really go all out in here because I knew that we would be moving soon, but I'm hoping to display more in there. I'd like to eventually get the nice retro neon PokéNav sign made for the background, be able to display all the graded cards. I got still waiting on 2 big submissions from PSA to come back. One from September and one from January to come back. So I'm sure I'll be displaying a lot of those cards that are coming back as well. And just talking more about my collection, which I know I haven't done a whole lot in the past, but just doing a little bit more of that. A little more like easy listening type of episodes, just kind of talking about collection, where they came from, where I think maybe they're headed from an investment standpoint, things like that. So I'm sure you guys will be seeing more of that in the future. All right, let's go ahead and jump into a couple more questions here, and then we'll go ahead and wrap it up for the night. I'll let you guys get to your Friday evening. Let you guys either spend time with the family. Maybe you're headed out on the town tonight. Now that everything's pretty much open back up, I think in most places. And let you guys get to your Friday evening. Brian, do you think the Hidden Fates Charizard are a buy here? I see prices as low as what does that say, $850 to $950 range, and been waiting for a good entry point on this card. Yeah, the Hidden Fates Charizard has actually, it's held a pretty decent value over the long term, and it's such a popular card. Hidden Fates, there's a lot of people out there that would say that Hidden Fates, as far as modern goes, even over the last 5, 6, 7 years, is probably one of the best sets out there. I'd probably agree with that in most regards. So I think that particular card is probably always going to hold a pretty strong value. Even though there's a lot of them that get graded because a lot of people know that, I think it's one that a lot of people they're always going to want. It's always one that they're going to love and one that they'll want in their collection. So I think at that price point, again, maybe it falls a little bit lower. But if you like it, if it's something you want to hold on to, then to me, there's never really a bad time to buy. There's better times to buy, right? And when the market falls, when it dips, things like that. But as an investor, I think you never want to be completely out of the market. You never want to be completely out because when you are, then you get shut out. So yeah, at that price point, I mean, depending on where you're at, you know, where your finances are at, things like that, it's a card that I think is always going to be popular, one that everybody's going to love. So for what it's worth. All right, let's see. Julio, do you think the Pokemon Center exclusive Chilling Reign ETB is a good hold, even though it's an error box? You know, the error type of products and cards is something that it always kind of changes, right? Like back in the day, error cards, nobody really cared about. There wasn't a premium on that. Now there is. Could there be a similar thing with the Chilling Reign ETB from Pokemon Center? Possibly. But it's not really that big of an error, right? There's some connotation there where Pokemon backtrack and they're like, oh crap, we messed up here and this is how we're going to try to rectify that. So maybe that'll be embedded into the social consciousness of the hobby, and people will be like, oh, I remember when Pokemon made that mistake and they sent out this ETB. It was supposed to have the 10 packs in it, but it only had 8. So at some point that could very well be the case, but right now, I don't know. To be honest with you, I mean, if the past is any precedence, then maybe it could have a premium. But right now, I don't think that there's really any greater value in having that versus just a regular Chilling Reign ETB. TT says, pop over 2,000. I would never pay 800 for a high pop card. That's another thing to consider as well. But again, we're talking about how absorbable it is by the market, where that demand and where that supply kind of meet or exceed or fall short over the long term. And that's really to be determined. So could be at some point people are like, I'm just sick and tired of Hidden Fates Charizard and nobody wants it anymore. And so you paid 800, maybe it falls and it stabilizes at 500 over the next few years. I don't know. I have no idea. I have no idea. But it has been very popular, and it has remained popular since its release. So that's kind of what I look at. Toybot, how about special delivery? Bidoof came late, so don't know if you covered it. No, I haven't covered it. So many people are pissed out there. You get the special delivery Bidoof and not the special delivery Charizard. So it just cracks me up. Some of the stuff Pokemon does sometimes just cracks me up. The decisions that they make. That's so funny. Do you ever think they'll make cards for Crystal Onyx or Pink Butterfree? That would be really cool. It'd be really cool to see them bring back some of those kind of anime specific type of things that you saw in the anime. I don't know. It'd be interesting. I was going through some Top Series 3 cards today at the shop and scrolling through those, and that was fun. That was a nostalgic blast from the past. And it just reminded me, just thinking of bringing back anime type of artwork and Pokemon. All right, let's see. Kyle B, how about the Rumble game set cards? Oman reminding me of Pokemon Snap a little. Imagine a Pokemon Snap set. I love the Pikachu Snap promo that Wizards did. Yeah, that'd be really cool. It'd be really cool to see them. And typically Pokemon does for a lot of their movies, for their games, things like that. There's usually TCGs, the cards to follow, right? So yeah, I think it would be cool. It'd be cool to see Pokemon Snap specific cards. I don't know if they intend that. And the other thing, guys, to take into consideration is I think as things normalize even more and as Pokemon gets more people hired, gets printing capacity back to normal, we'll start to see more of those type of things coming out. I just still think at this point they really aren't able to print what they would like to, and so we're not seeing a lot of those really fun type of cards and maybe game exclusive, movie exclusive type of cards because they just don't have the capacity. All right, let's get a last couple questions in here. Do you think that given the Pokemon market right now, it's a good time for opportunities? I see now as a good time for opportunities. There's always good time. There's always opportunities, guys. Always. Doesn't matter if it's a high, low, somewhere in between. There's always opportunities. You just have to look for them. You have to dig. You have to do your research. You expand your knowledge. But there's always opportunities out there. I've been doing this in all types of markets, right? Through the highs, through the lows, the ebbs and the flows. And guess what? There's been opportunities all along the way. You just have to find them. You have to think outside the box. You have to think differently than what the mass of people are thinking and the way that they're going about it. And again, it's why I try to bring on other people, try to give you guys as diverse of perspective as possible, so that you guys can see that, so you can have that big picture outlook. Adrian Hero, Supnab, brought a Mysterious Mountains Crystal Charizard a month ago for $1,500. Sent Super Express for $300. Came back a week ago as a 10. Congratulations, my friend. Pop 25. Last sold was around 10,000. Hold or sell. You are not going to put this one on me, my friend. You're not going to put this one on me. I'm not going to tell you either way. I don't know your financial situation, but dude, I have to give you, that's huge. That is so awesome, to see a card when it comes back, especially a card like that, and it comes back in a PSA 10. I mean, my initial thought, hold on to it, pop 25. How much is that really going to increase? You know what I mean? So my initial inclination is to hold that, let it continue to appreciate. But again, I don't know. I mean, that's huge margin, right? That's a huge margin that you've gained on that card, and maybe that can go to something else. But again, maybe you have a personal attachment to that card. You don't want to let it go right away. That's the tough part. Always the tough part about being in this hobby is being able to balance what you're selling, what you're keeping, you're investing, you're collecting. There's so many aspects, and sometimes it's tough to try to balance all of those. So I'd say go with your gut, buddy. Go with your gut. Go with your intuition, what your intuition tells you. For me personally, I would say hold at this point. But yeah. But congratulations. That's really cool. All right. I'm going to get to just a couple more questions here, and then we will call it a night. Let's see. Try to find somebody that I haven't asked or that I haven't answered yet. I think I've gotten to everybody tonight. I think I've gotten to everybody's question, or at least tried to. Last one here. It's kind of a fun question. Is there a reason why Ash isn't on more cards? That's a question that has always baffled me as well. Perhaps one of the most, aside from Pikachu, probably the most well-known image related to Pokemon in the entire world. You never really see it. We see Red. You see likenesses of Ash, mainly from the games, but you never really see Ash. Talking about today when I was going through those Series 3 Topps cards and seeing that, it made me wonder the same thing. Why don't we see more of Ash? An actual likeness of him. We got Misty, we got Brock. Where's Ash? You got all of these different characters from the games, from the anime, but you rarely ever see Ash. And especially one that is very close to his likeness. So, I don't know. I don't know, man. I would like to see it. I would truly like to see it. Maybe that's 25th anniversary celebrations. We got that gold star, or no, I'm sorry. Hold on. We've got that full art, hyper rare Ash trainer card. That's what it'll be. That'll be the big chase card for the 25th anniversary. We'll finally get that Ash card holding his championship trophy, the Pokemon Master that he was intended to become will be featured on that card, and that'll be it. So that is my very climactic answer to your question, my friend. All right, guys. I think that's going to be it for tonight. Again, thank you so much for being here. Thank you for taking the time out to join me here tonight. I truly appreciate it. I truly appreciate all of you for all of your warm regards, your well wishes for me, for my son, for our family over this last week. We're going to be rolling right back into the content. We're going to have another video coming out on Sunday, and then we'll get right back into it as usual next week. Not taking any time off. We just keep this train a-rolling, and the Nav Nation will just keep getting more and more on board, and the train will keep rolling. The train will keep rolling. But again, guys, thank you so much. Truly appreciate all of you. The Nav Nation could not be here without you. We will see you next time, guys. My name is PokéNav. I'm here to help you navigate the world of Pokemon, one video at a time, and I will see you all in the next video. Take care, Nav Nation.